I'm rosa, white, green.
My- I haven't really had the green, I'll be honest. I can't find a good plug for it.
I'm not gonna lie, your mic actually sounds fine.
All right, calm. I won't fuck around with the settings then.
Right. Well, we'll do.
Ignore the fact that I'm going to be downing like a disgusting amount of water throughout this.
It's completely fine. Let me do the intro. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Right Way podcast. It's been a bloody minute since the last episode, but as you can see, I'm joined by the champ, fellow team member, and great bodybuilder, Tom Pedder. Welcome to the podcast again, mate. How you
What a
doing?
kind introduction. Thank you. I'm doing all right. It's been a very, very, very busy few weeks. A
Mm-hmm.
very busy few weeks. Um, but it's been absolutely amazing. I've been on top of the world the last couple of weeks. I'll be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
I've been saying to so many people that obviously prep is a difficult process to go through, but these last couple of weeks alone have made it worthwhile, and we've still got the best to come. That's the thing. All of this is still just trial and error, playing around with things and having some fun, getting used to the stage before finals. But I'm doing well. I'm doing very, very well at the moment. Life's hitting different.
You love to hear it. Right. So, for anyone who doesn't know, Tom just competed at, where is it? PCA.
Yeah, PCA first timers in Birmingham.
Okay, PCA first time is in Birmingham. Won his class. First competition, right?
Yeah, it's a first timer show. So everyone who competed, it was their first time on stage.
That should be obvious by first timers,
Yeah.
but it's what
It's
it's
quarter to 6
1:46
in
in
the
the morning, so
morning.
you can
Yeah.
give it a minute. Yeah, talk me through the whole process, mate. Like, how were you feeling going into the show, and then yeah, we'll kind of go from there.
Oh mate, I was shitting it.
Yeah.
I was shitting it. Um, I think in the days leading up to the show, I knew that I'd ticked every box. I knew that everything Max had asked of me the whole way through I'd done. I've not had a single time where I've cheated on my plan, not once. It's not even like I've scrammed a random Nutrigrain bar in the middle of it. Do you know what I mean? Like nothing has been out of
A
place.
lot.
Yeah. So I knew going into it that I could be happy regardless, but
Mhm.
it still doesn't change the fact that you're stepping on stage and it was the biggest show ever put on in the UK in front of however many people, like it was a full auditorium in what is effectively a thong. For a
Yeah,
guy that's never
you
done that
always
before,
I always
it's
forget about that. Like, I know it sounds obvious because it's a
yeah,
bodybuilding
yeah,
stage, but you kind of like, because you're so used to the process, you kind of just put that to the back of your head.
yeah. Don't get me wrong, like I'm used to like flexing and this.
To get started, download the Google Home app on a phone or tablet.
Why is that going off at
It's just
six
rude,
o'clock in
mate.
the morning? Yeah, you're trying to record a podcast here, Doc. All right. Anyway, um, yeah. So it was just a really weird thing to mentally prepare for
Mm,
because imposter syndrome does kick. It
yeah.
does, and until you get on that stage and until you're there, you don't know what to expect. People can tell you this and that, and it doesn't really make a difference until you step on that stage. And for anyone that follows me on Instagram, they would have seen there was a message, like a set of messages between me and Max. And he literally said, if you're nervous or anxious on stage, find me in the crowd. Eyes on me, I'll guide you. Just listen to me. And that is exactly what I did when I stepped on stage. I found him in the crowd, and there's so many things that go into it. There's like a little alter ego drop. You step on stage, adrenaline's going, this, that, the other, and I found Max in the crowd, and that was it. Like I knew
How
I
long did it take you to like look into him? Because obviously, like, he stands out because he's so fucking tall, but like,
yeah, and also he was screaming.
Gloom.
Yeah, like at the start, I was sitting there, like you could, like there was a little bit of panic because I couldn't find him at the start, and I was literally
Mm,
sitting there like where, and then as soon as I found him, I was like, gosh, okay,
mm.
it's my time, it's my time, and yeah, there's so many little things I talked about as well, like that alter ego drop, like it's almost like an actor stepping into a character, but in that moment you have to bleed confidence, you
Mm.
have to own that stage, and you have to walk out knowing that you deserve to be there, knowing that everyone else is competing for second place,
Mm.
and that confidence shows on stage. It reflects in your posing, it reflects in your stage presence, and stage presence is something that they actually judge you on.
I was gonna say judges are gonna like if you it's it's great if you bring a good package on the day, but I think so many bodybuilders as well just let themselves down in terms of presentation. Like so many of them, like if you're going into a prep and you've waited till like the last week to start practicing posing, you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
And
Like you need to go on that stage, like Tom said, you need to like even if you are not a confident person, the judges don't know that. The competitors don't know that. You need to go there with the attitude of this is my fucking stage.
exactly,
I'm gonna win right now, and I'm gonna show them how much I fucking want this. You know?
and it 100% shows. It
Hmm.
shows who's put the work in. It shows who's prepared for it. And even backstage, one of the other competitors, Brandon, made everyone, you could see backstage was an interesting environment
Was it like
because
mind games? Everyone was trying to suss each other out.
kind of yes, but kind of no.
Hmm.
Like some people were chill, but some people were giving me like evils, bro, literally staring me up and down, and I was like, okay. But when I was backstage, I didn't think I was gonna win. Like,
Hmm.
so I was backstage and I was like, these are some big cunts. Like, there are some big people back here, and you don't see yourself, so it can be really hard because you'll get in your own head, and you can put yourself down really easily. And I literally just whacked my headphones on. I had a playlist that I'd made, and I was just vibing with it, like, or trying to at least. I forgot pump product, and Max left it in his car. So, but I was sitting there like,
You have to
shit.
forgive him. He's on prep as
And
well.
yeah, true. So I was like, shit, and I had a little panic backstage, and Max was like, bro, it's minor, it's so minor. But I was like, I was going around asking people about that. And the other thing is I thought I was in tall. I'm 179 centimeters, and the cap is 179 centimeters. So I was like, calm, that means I'm in tall. No, it means 180 and up is tall. And for those that don't know, if you're shorter, generally you're going to hold more muscle mass. It's harder to fill out a taller frame. So when I was looking at the guys in tall, I was like, calm, okay. Like, and then I saw the guys in medium, and I was like, fuck. And obviously it pushed my timeline forward because medium was before.
Hmm.
So in my head, I was panicking.
Yep.
Because I was like, I'm going to be on stage sooner. I've not got it. Like, and Max was
But I
like,
mean, you're very much like me. Like we're. I feel like me and you are very both like. Well, to be fair, I think most bodybuilders are. To be fair, but I feel like you've said multiple times like how OCD you are with stuff. So
yeah,
like I feel like for you, you were planning out that timeline. You had an exact idea, and as soon as like there's one like bump in the road with that whole process, you just start to unravel, right?
yeah. And the whole thing, like the whole of peak week was a bit of a like anxiety provoking experience, I guess you could say, because throughout the entirety of prep, it's your macros well in advance. You
Hmm.
can plan your meals. You can do everything you need to do. Like,
You were messaging the group chat
yeah,
for
I
how
was.
much jam to put on
Oh,
them.
mate, don't, because I like to have
You were
everything
like, "What's the
specific.
ideal
I was like,
ratio? I
yeah,
need to know."
like it turns out 15 grams of jam
Yeah.
per like half like bagel
Hmm.
is banging actually.
Pretty bang on,
But
yeah.
like, yeah, I was just wondering because I haven't had bagels in so long. So when I had my refeed, I didn't even have them last week, to be fair. But when I had my refeed for this one, I was like, damn, man, I gotta know. I gotta ask. Someone's gotta know. How Ben fits like 40 grams of jam on one bagel is beyond me.
Yeah,
But
40 grams
anyway,
is
I
quite
don't
a
know
lot.
what massive bagels he's getting. But besides the point, back to the point. In peak week, everything can change at a hair's notice. That's why you have the check-ins every morning. Like this
Mhm.
morning, I was meant to be on 800 carb. I'm now on 600, and more water's going in the mornings. And you've got to be able to adjust to that on the fly. And because I've never been through it before, knowing how it's going to work by itself, and well, or more specifically, not knowing how it was going to work when everything else up to that point had been so structured, was really weird.
Mm.
And but now that I've been through it once, it's like, calm, okay, I got it. Like, I know how this works now.
But it's just, I think it's the initial fear of the unknown, isn't it? Because you're like, you want to be so on top of it. You want to make sure because you've nailed everything up to this exact moment. And you're like, right, I don't really want to, fail at the last hurdle now, do I? I put
Yeah.
all this work in, and what if I fuck up one thing here? It's like, you know, it's a bit messed up. So talk me through like when you were on stage, how did you feel? Did you think you was, gonna come first? Like I know everyone says, I want to go in with the attitude of I'm going to win. But like
Yeah.
be honest, like how did you actually feel? Did you think that was, what was actually gonna happen? How did you actually feel when it did happen? And then just talk us kind of what happens, after you've won.
So as I said, backstage, I was like, I have no idea. I have
Mhm.
no idea because these guys are big. There were some big guys on that stage. And Max was telling me, he was like, bro, you're gonna smash it. Like you are gonna smash it. And yeah, you just don't see yourself for the way that you truly are. Even looking back at the stage shots when the stage shots came through, I was like, what? That's what I look like on stage? Okay. And so yeah, stepped out on stage, obviously posing away. You aren't focused on anyone else but your own posing and making sure that your posing is bang on, like to the point you can't hear like anything. Which is something I found kind of interesting is like how some of your senses just kind of get knocked out. Like
Did you because like obviously every single time I do a chicken at the moment, and this is something I feel like I'm definitely going to have to practice for when I do want to compete, because I'm so used to looking in a mirror for when I pose. So I feel like it's such a different experience, like knowing if your pose is. Did you actually practice without a mirror, that kind of stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, in the last like 2 weeks, because I realized, that's an issue. And now I don't like posing in front of a mirror.
Really?
Because I find that I connect worse with the muscle because I'm looking in the mirror rather than thinking about what it is that I look like.
Yeah.
I'd rather connect with the muscle and feel it and then look at the video and adjust based on that than look at the mirror and focus on it, because you can feel if the muscle is right. And having that like ability to sense it and almost see yourself in third person is more important than obviously a mirror, which you're not going to have on stage anyway. But yeah, it's something that like I was doing a lot towards the end, but not at the beginning at all, because there was a moment where someone was like, "You're not going to have a mirror on stage," and I was like, "That's facts." Okay.
Like you just got prep to that moment. You're like, oh shit.
Fair. I should probably work on that. Because yeah, when you're so focused on what you look like in the mirror, you're not actually thinking about your body and the way that your body feels in that moment when you're posing. And that feeling of what it's like when you're posing is what it's going to be like on stage. And now I actually find that like a mirror or a reflection in a window really puts me off, because I will look at that and then I'll lose the connection to my body.
So you're a lot more like conscious of when you're on stage of like how you are posing, and you're just like in the moment and present, just cutting out everything else.
Almost seeing myself in third person, like imagining what it does look like and how that feels in a weird way. I don't know how well I've explained that, but yeah, like getting this third person view of yourself while being very conscious of the way that your body is and connecting to the muscle when you're posing. But yeah, going through, I didn't think I was going to win. I didn't. I had no idea. And when they did the call outs and were rearranging where the athletes are standing, for those that don't know, if you're sent a call out, that generally means you're on it to win it. And I didn't realize that I was sent a call out. I thought I was slightly to the side. It wasn't until like 2 hours later when Max was showing me the video, he was like, yeah. And then you got sent a stage call out. And I was like, sorry, what? Like, I genuinely didn't realize. But obviously went through all the posing, went back, and I was like, okay, I felt like that went all right. I was somewhere near the middle. Sweet. I did my thing regardless, so I'm happy. Then we went out for routines. I really got into that routine like halfway through. As I said, you kind of end up blocking out certain senses, and I blocked out the sound for quite a lot of it. Obviously, not the music. But
I was going to say you need music to kind of cue you in.
Yeah. But they started the music.
I was about to say this.
Oh, mate, like they did say. I looked back at it. It's like, we will start your music as you're walking on stage. I was like, damn, I didn't expect to start that early though. So I kind of lost my flow a little bit at the start, but I found it quite quickly afterwards. And then there was like one point where I could hear the crowd and I could hear like cheering, and I was like, all right, let's go for it then. And I really got into it. And even like coming off the stage, but I had people being like, that routine was like different. That was really, really good. I was like, thank you, because you never really know, and obviously you put all this time in, so to have other people recognize that.
How often? How long did you have that routine together, and how long were you practicing that?
We put the routine together quite early.
Mm.
Probably at like, I don't know, like 16, 12 weeks out.
Mm-hmm. And
Like
how regularly were you kind of practicing that full stage?
at the start, once again, not very, and as it got closer, it was more and more and more. I think because the routine had a level of like flexibility in it with the floor work, that was the main thing that I was kind of focused on, is making sure that hit right. And then
The
obviously
twisted back
as
double,
well.
like I cannot hit that to save my life.
I spent
And
so
like,
long on that. I
yeah,
spent
you can tell
so
it shows
long on
like the
that chart.
stage shot of you hitting that is
Yeah, I
absolutely
was
beautiful.
gassed at that. That's one of the favorite shots that I've got out of the whole like competition and prep
Mm.
project. But I genuinely, there was a point in time where I was at my gym in my boxers, had the camera recording, I'd hit it like 10 times, then go watch the video and be like, no, go back, hit it another like 5 times and be like, okay, a little bit better. And I literally slammed that one pose because I wanted that one to be bang on. And even now, sometimes I'll hit it and it'll be like, I'm not happy with that. And there were certain parts of the routine that I wasn't happy with, that like I'm hoping to bring
But the
these
thing
things
is, if you set those
working out.
standards so high and you're practicing that over and over, even the ones where you're like, oh, that's shit, other people might even look at that and be like, oh, it's fucking bang on. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's what you're doing by keep, kind of like getting it in and keep like just getting that into your heads that you kind of have this such a high standard compared to, other people who might just be, oh yeah, I've hit that shot. It's all right. Okay. Let's just
I'm
move
a
on.
perfectionist through and through,
Mm.
like in every sense of the word when it comes to nutrition and training and this. And so I want to get everything as bang on as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And posing was no different. And I'm just glad that it kind of reflected well, that people like the routine, that clearly it worked in some capacity.
Mm.
And obviously there's a lot of things that go into winning a show. It's not just your posing or just this. I think the level of conditioning that me and Max achieved definitely helped when it came to stage. Considering I feel like I was probably the most conditioned in the class.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that goes a long way, especially in PCA. PCA really value conditioning.
Talk me through the emotions, like how was, because
It
obviously
was
you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and I think anyone within this sport will, and even though we've talked about it on the podcast multiple times, and I even said this to you once we had that call, I think it's always good to go into a competition with a mindset, and you had this mindset as well. We talked about it, how you should approach a competition, especially if it's your first time. Just getting on stage is a win, and you should do it just for the process. But
yeah,
I think a lot of people are not delusional, but kind of like, even if you have that mindset, I still think a lot of people want to do well,
oh
and
yeah,
you're kind of lying to yourself if you're like, oh no, I
yeah.
didn't really care if I placed.
Yeah, no, 100%. And as much as I can say I went into it for the experience and this and that, and I did, don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, you still would like to do well. Like,
Oh
no
yeah, of
one's
course.
entering this just for shits and gigs. Like, people want to do well.
Literally starving yourself just for a laugh.
Yeah, I was like, no, and for me, that's what this has always been about, is like, it's the start of a legacy.
Mm.
And I've said it so many times, like, I'm going to be staying in this game and I'm going to be working hard to make sure that I get to the top of it. And so for it to be the first show and for me to win it was something else. But like, we'll start at the start, I guess. In the days leading up to the show, it was a lot of anxiety.
Mm.
And I had external factors leading into that as well. It wasn't all just about shows. I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life around that type of time as well, which I have managed to get through now. And that alone has taken a lot of stress off. But there was obviously a lot of anxiety and excitement. And luckily, actually, I was speaking to another competitor messaged me, being like, someone who's not in my class, thankfully. I didn't know anyone in my class. I just want to throw that out there as well. And I didn't want to, because the last thing I wanted to be doing is comparing myself.
Better yourself, yeah, smart.
Yeah, mate, I know that I'd rip myself apart. I
Mm-hmm.
would. And I was speaking to this other competitor because we were going through the exact same thing. And it was kind of nice to know that it wasn't just me, and that we were both in the same headspace when it came to it, and someone to kind of share that experience with. And because of that, I became quite close to them over the course of that process.
Mm-hmm.
And the anxiety that was there, I think I just realized that that's so normal. That's so normal. Like, it's the first time that you're doing something like this. You're never going to go out on stage and be 100% confident the first time.
Mm.
and leading up to shows backstage, as I said, I was shitting it, but Max did an amazing job in keeping me calm. And he said exactly what he needed to. And there was also a level of, I knew I'd done everything I needed to do. I'm a perfectionist, as I said, so I'm always going to be stressed. Like,
I think that is one of the biggest things, like, or two of the biggest things. One, having a coach who actually like guides you through those very end stages. Because the thing is, like, stress management at the end of prep is like make or break. You know, if you're seriously stressed coming into that show and you're holding on to a lot of water, you could ruin your whole package, literally just because of the cortisol response from it.
Yeah.
But as well as that, knowing you've done the work, like, because if you can psych yourself out so easily, knowing that, you know, you fucked up, or you maybe you didn't put your 100% into it, and then you're like we said, if you're not going onto that stage exuding confidence and like coming across as like this is my fucking stage, you know.
So I knew that I'd done everything that I could regardless. I was proud of myself just for getting up on that stage. And the other thing is, it's the first time. We have 4 shows planned out. It was one of 3. It was a chance for us to gather data. It was a chance for us to go through the experience at a first timer show where it doesn't really matter. Like, it obviously does matter to some extent, like more on a personal level, but in terms of the broader picture, it doesn't matter. And so we went through, obviously stepped on stage, and when it's around stages, I'll be honest, there was, after getting off stage, there was just no anxiety, because you got the job done and you were just thinking, right, now I've got to do the routine. And
was it just the initial kind of walk on because you were like, I don't know what this experience is going to be like, and then once you were there, because
mate, once you were there and snapped into character, it hit different.
I was going to say, I've heard, sorry to interrupt you, mate. I've heard so many competitors kind of say they have anxiety and then they step on stage and it's just like there's nothing, like it's gone. It's like you feel like you're supposed to be on that stage. Do you know what I mean?
And it's that snap into that alter ego and that confidence that whether you're faking it or not, in that moment, that is you. You become that confidence. And that's why it's addictive. When you step on stage and you know you've done the work and you are owning that stage, you know you deserve to be there. Like, you've put in 20 weeks or however long of absolute grafting to get to this point, and you are going to walk out on stage and you are going to own it. And it's like we said, it shows, because the confidence that you have, people can pick up on that. And if you put in the work, that will be genuine. And but that snap into alter ego, it's like you're backstage and you're like, all right, it's game time. And all of a sudden, that's it. Like, it's like a different person steps on stage. And when I tell you that, like, that got me the bug. Like, I knew the second that I was on stage that I was like, I'm going to be doing this for a long time, because that just feels incredible in and of itself.
This is what I always say, though. Like, I think it's so important, and I've always said for people who are considering going in enhanced, like, don't get me wrong, like, it's your own body, your choice. But if you want to do it a smart way, I'd always say, like, you know, try stage before you kind of make that leap, because, you know, even though it's gone well for you, there are some individuals who you know, get on stage and they're just like, I don't like this, like, I just don't, and then, you know, it's not really
go through prep. Like, they don't even get to stage. They'll go through prep and they can't
exactly.
Like, not everyone is built for prep, and that's not a bad thing. Like, but it's just not for everyone. And the whole experience just isn't for everyone. But like, from my side of things, mate, I fell in love with it instantly. And as you said, realistically, should you step on stage before going enhanced? Probably. Is that going to change if people do or don't? Probably not. Let's be totally honest with it.
Also, just important to note, you did that, right? Yeah.
Like,
so I'm not getting at anyone. I'm just saying,
no.
You know, there is different ways to kind of approach it.
Yeah.
And like,
the smarter way, I think.
Exactly. Like, there's no one fixed way to do it. But like, you know, if you want to be, you know, smart about it and, you know, alleviate any risk of that, you know, be smart about it. How was tell people about obviously coming off stage, seeing Max getting hyped up, and then trophy.
So obviously we stepped off stage, and well, before we even got to that point, when he had the clipboard with the results on it, I was number 23, and you can see, like, I got a glimpse of the sheet, so I could see like first, second, third, and all I saw on first was a 2 in the first spot, and I was like, please, Please. Like, please. I was at the back of the stage in just a front relax, like, fucking please.
How did you spot it from stage?
Bro, because this is another like side stories. I realized very quickly, mate, there are so many little side stories here. I told you, we said we were going to be on it for like 30 minutes, 45. That was bollocks. Let's be totally
Let's
honest.
get the side stories in.
I haven't put my contacts in.
I was going to say, because you wear glasses, so how are you?
Yeah, I haven't put my contacts in because so when you go to get the tan, you have to be showered, no product on your skin because it can interact with the tan. So I have my glasses on, and obviously you get the base coat the night before, go to sleep, wake up, get the show day tan, and then you get glazed before you go on stage. And I hadn't thought this through. I didn't have my contacts in, and I was like, I don't want to wear glasses on stage. I'm not used to wearing glasses in the gym or posing or anything like that. I don't want anything that's going to throw me off. And I was like, I literally messaged Max like, fuck, because I have monthlies and I have dailies, and I tried to put in my monthly. Like I literally just washed the fuck out my hands. I was like, please don't come off. And as soon as I put my finger in the contact lens solution, it just went orange, and I was like, fucked it. I'm gonna have to find someone to do this for me. And I messaged Max like, bro, I'm gonna need a favor, and he was like, what? I was like, I need to put my contacts in. He's like, I can't. I was like, what the fuck do you mean you can't? What do you mean? And he was like, bro, I don't do ice. I was like, today you do. He was like, no, bro, I don't do ice. And so I had to find some random guy backstage. And like, I was literally going around backstage like, bro, I need a
Please.
favor. I need a favor. And to like this absolute legend put in my contacts for the first time. And bro, I could see when he was picking it up, his hand was shaking. He'd never done it before. And I was like, please don't poke my fucking eye out. But anyway, yeah, so I have my contacts on. And as I was standing there on stage, you do just kind of end up looking around a little bit. Like I when it comes to my posing, like some people will smile when posing, and like that wasn't kind of the vibe I was going for. I was a lot more going for like the stoic, stone cold, like just because that's what I'd always done when it was posing. Like I'm so busy focused on my body that my face is the last thing I think about. So fair play to any like men's physique or like
Yeah, I look like I'm monging out whenever I pose.
Like literally, I'm sitting there like death stare. And yeah, I was looking over because he started talking, and as I looked over, I saw him pick up the clipboard, and I was like, please. And obviously he was going through the numbers, and he got through third, and I was like, okay, so it's still potentially on the cards, but I could have come fourth or fifth because, as I said in my head, I have no idea where I was standing. And he got to second, and I was like, that ain't me. So it either means I'm first, or I'm not top three.
But you knew you were in the census.
And I was like,
at that point, you were like, it's got to be.
I was like, yeah, but you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah. Because then you're making up in your head. You're like, oh, maybe this time I switched it up.
Don't put more pressure on yourself. Don't do this. So I was sitting there like, please, okay. And then he called my name, and yeah, honestly, from that moment, it was just pure euphoria. I completely, mate, when they took the winners' photos, I just forgot my legs existed. And just could not tense them at all. Bear in mind, obviously, we did rounds of posing, but my legs were gone, so they look awful in the shots. But I did that. As soon as I got off stage, I messaged Max like, "Where the fuck are you?" I FaceTimed one of my friends, forgot that my phone was connected to my headphones, and I was like, like showing them, and I was like, I literally can't hear you, but I'll call you back in a minute. What girl like packed up all my bag and everything like that, walked out, left the trophy because I just completely forgot it existed because I was like, I've got to find Max. And then I was like, shit, where is it? I went back, and one of the guys backstage was like, what are you looking for? I was like, the trophy. He's like, bro, you've had it like 2 minutes. Went outside, found Max, and I was like, hold this. Bear in mind, I'd overpacked to shit because I was like, I will not come into this underprepared, not having something. So I had a stupid amount of food in my bag, even though I ate like none of it. And so I had my bag on my shoulder. I gave Max the plaque. I hugged him. And as I hugged him, I was like, mate, this bag's too heavy. Fuck this. I went to push the bag off. And as I did, the strap of the bag clipped the trophy. And the trophy literally went, and the base shattered. And Max has got the video. And I literally just went, my trophy. It's so fucking funny. And mate, I just because I was riding such an emotional high, I was up here and then the trophy smashed. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, you demonic sounds in Max's car on the way. Like I was like, why is this guy sounding like an eagle?
Yeah, but honestly, we were absolutely on top of the world. Absolutely on top of the world. We picked up all the like random pieces of the trophy, chucked it in Max's car, and we were like, right, we got prepared for the overalls. We were like, let's get like on this. We can think about the fact that we just won in a minute. Like, let's make sure that we have everything bashed out. And so yeah, we went back to like make food at my mate's, but it was on the car on the way back where all those videos of us literally just fucking screaming. We chucked on Max's brothers like D&B mix, and like we were just vibing in the car on the way back. And I don't think the reality had still even hit at that point, like of what that meant to me to have won that. We were just like absolutely on top of the world. And bear in mind, Max is fucked. Like at this point in his prep, he is digging. And so for him to be showing that energy as well, it was.
Yeah, I spoke to him yesterday. Like, you can tell, like he's really in it at the moment. And I think, you know, even when I went down with like Ruben and Ben, like there's times where energy is infectious, and definitely like you highlighted there when you came off stage, obviously it's infectious, but when that kind of runs out, you can just see how kind of deep he is into it. And for him to show up and like he stayed for the overall, this kind of stuff, like when you have a coach who's in your corner and you know how hard they're going itself, like it's such a massive thing.
Especially because no one else could be there. No, I like no one could get tickets. It was sold out from like July when I went to look at it. So I couldn't get anyone else to be there. Max being there meant the absolute world to me, and I told him this so many times on show day, like how much I appreciated him being there, because if he wasn't there, it would have been a very, very different experience and probably a very, very different outcome.
What tips would you have for, like, say someone who's watching this, they're thinking of getting on stage for the first time? What give them like a couple of tips that you would maybe things you would have changed, or just advice kind of going into it that you think they might find helpful?
If you're going to go into this process, you have to fully commit to it. You have to fully commit to it. Because if you step on stage and you in your head know that you have not done everything you could, I don't know about you, but that would not sit well with me. Like, I've gone through what a 20-week process, and if I stepped on that stage and it was close between first and second and I lost it, and I went,
you would have been like, that extra rice cake weren't worth it, boy.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what I mean? Like, there are some people that will go through prep and have everything bang on, and there's some people that will go through prep and give themselves refeeds every 2 weeks and just not, you know what I mean? Just people
justify it in their head. They're like, oh no, yeah,
like, oh, I've deserved this and this, that, the other, and then not tell their coach and then this and that, and you're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So you've got to be able to fully commit. Make sure you have a good group of people around you. Cut out external stress early. Because you do not need to be dealing with that before shows. That's something that I learned the hard way. You need to have people around you who are going to be understanding of the process. And the last thing that you want is for something, when you're in the depths of it, going through it, when you're digging, to just be adding to stress, because that is going to do you no favors, and it's going to make the whole process a lot harder. So get your shit together before you go into prep, as much as possible, at least. Obviously, there are some times where that's just not possible for you to do.
I think it's smart as well to, like, obviously I haven't gone through a prep, but like I was looking over like prep management on J3 the other day, and like something he said massively as well is like, be realistic with yourself. Like, are you in a situation right now where you can actually, like, is it the smartest time to do a prep?
H is a perfect example of that. Like, he wants to do a prep, but he's got a young kid, he's got this, he's got that going on, and he said, you know what, like, I'll wait and do it next year when their timing's better. Like, he could do it right now, but he wants to wait till his kid's a little bit older.
Puts extra stress on you. You know, you've got
fair play to him. For recognizing that and understanding the difficulty of prep and the stress that places on the people around him and the external factors. Fair play, because some people would just dive balls into it and it destroy their personal life.
Yeah, and it fucks you up. You're putting all this additional stress on yourself. You know, you're then could be sacrificing relationships. Like in H's instance, you know, it probably mess up his family dynamic, all this kind of stuff. And sometimes you've got to be you've got to be self-aware, and you've kind of got to look at it from like a third person perspective. Like, don't just focus solely on your own goals. How is that going to affect close ones to you? Like you said, like having good relationships in place as well. Like, is it feasible? Even if you're doing a natural show, you've got to pay for show entry fees, depending on what class you are. If you're a female, like doing bikini makeup, all that kind of stuff, even as a
the bikini prices
yeah, I know
alone
it's
with the
ridiculous.
jewelry and the shoes.
It's
Jesus
mad.
Christ. Mate, I paid 30 quid or something like that for my trunks, and I was like, "Min, sorted."
Yeah.
Girls are out here spending stupid amounts of money
Mm.
on their show stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and obviously, well, a tan's what, like 70 quid. Photos like 40 quid. Like 40, 45
You got to
quid,
think
something like
about
that.
accommodation. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Accommodation,
hotel the night before.
yeah, exactly.
You've got to have membership to the federation as well as entry to the individual show you're doing. Obviously, the photos tan and everything like that is per show.
Yep.
The federation obviously carries across, so but it's like a year-long thing. But if you're entering 2-3 federations doing how, I mean, realistically, most first timers won't do that. But like, I'm entering 2 federations, 4 shows. So that's 4 sets of, like, obviously you don't have to get
You doing a two bros? Oh, okay. What are you doing?
FitX and PCA.
Okay. Okay.
So
You've got FitX next, right?
yeah, FitX is tomorrow.
Oh, big
Tomorrow.
excite.
Tomorrow. And then we dig, because the one after that is PCA finals, and we are going balls to the wall
Coming
for that.
different.
Yeah, Max literally after obviously PCA, I was
I
riding.
saw the messages.
Yeah, I was riding the high, and then he sent me the refeed for this week, and I was like, I've not had that much. In my off season, I was not eating that much food.
How much are you on?
It was 1,000 carb on Thursday.
Holy fuck.
800 yesterday. It was meant to be 800 today, but I've woke up a bit watery, so we dropped it to 600.
Mm-hmm.
But that 1,000 carb day was like 5.7k calories.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, I felt guilty like eating that. I was going into that and I was stressed.
What sauces did you use? Rice cakes, jam.
On that day, mate, rice cakes, nah. Bagels.
Actually, that's stupid. Yeah, that's such a yeah.
No. We went heavy, bro.
Yeah.
My pre-meal was like 180 grams of cream of rice and 2 jammed up bagels.
Yeah, that's wild.
Mate, I took a picture of it, and I didn't put it on socials because I know a lot of people are on prep and stuff like that. But that was the fattest bowl of.
I was gonna say 180 grams of cream of rice, like the volume in that. I feel like you're eating that out of a trough, bro.
Bro, I literally had my pre-meal last night and passed out. It was that entire bowl.
Yeah, that's wild.
Full, and I was like, okay, and 2 jammed up bagels. I had a double coffee by the side of it.
I was gonna say, because the crash from that, you'd be in a coma, mate.
The way that, bear in mind, it was like 300 carb or something like that in one meal.
Yeah.
I'd set it up. I've got a projector in my room because I have a blank wall there. So I'd set up my projector. I brought all my food upstairs. I had a double coffee, and I literally had to stop like 3 times in the middle of that because I was like, pace yourself. Because when you've been on a prep, your body doesn't know when to stop eting.
Did you go for a walk afterwards?
No, I nearly passed out, to be totally honest with you. I should have done the walk to the gym. To be fair, is like 25 minutes. Like
yeah,
20 minutes.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
So like I do get a little bit of food motility in beforehand, but when there's that much, the other thing you've got to consider is I am incredibly sensitive to food right now.
Yeah.
On my training days, like my lowest carb meal, I think is like 40-gram carb.
Mm-hmm.
Literally 2 minutes after I start eating it, I can feel my blood sugar rising.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel my pulse in my head. So that's on 40-gram of carb. That was 300 carb. And bro, I was fucked.
I feel like your head's gonna explode.
Mate, honestly, you're sitting there and you just cannot think properly. You're so like. So I had to wait like a solid like hour and a half. I had 3 breaks and a double coffee to get me through that because I was like, if I don't have caffeine, I will crash. Like I could have had a pre-workout nap straight after that. But yeah, it's just weird because it goes so against everything that you think about with prep. When you think prep, you think you do. Like it's there for a reason. It's there for a reason. And the thing is with this refeed is obviously we did last time. Last time was 800 carb, 500 carb. And this time it was planned to be 1,800, 800. But as I said, woke up watery, so at the moment it's 1,800, 600.
How's weight coming into this show compared to last?
I've
Or are
gained
you not saying?
a kilo a day for the last 2 days. So my lowest I was 79.4. Before the last show, I think I was 81. And this morning I was 82.1. Something like that. Hence why next week we're going to be trenches, digging. But we said we need to push fullness. We don't know how full I can get before I spill. We don't have another opportunity to gain data before PCA finals.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be done. But that doesn't stop me feeling guilty eating that much food. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed every second of it. And I probably should have slowed down while I was eating, but your body just doesn't let you. Because as soon as you start eating, those hunger hormones just kick.
When is finals as well?
15th of October. So
okay.
Just over 2 weeks.
Damn, so you're nearly finished with your first prep season.
I've got one more after that, potentially.
Oh, is that like
finals?
Oh, okay, cool.
Which would just be like the final, like we did it. I don't know. We'll see. And
then train to off season.
I've got to qualify for that first. That's what tomorrow's about. Obviously, data as well. Is the main thing. Is just data and experience, like going up on the stage, and we'll see. I have no idea what to expect of the FedEx standards. I'm not going into it expecting anything at all. We realistically, the job of this show is data. Although at the same time, it's the first show that my mum and my sister are going to, so I do want it to still be good.
Yeah, I saw the vodka.
So yeah, gotta be done. Try that protocol.
All right. I'm happy to leave it there, mate, because I know you've got to get on with stuff. To anyone listening, thank you. Please make sure you rate 5 stars on Spotify. Like on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with any content that comes out. Follow Tom for any updates on his shows. Tom, do you want to plug your social?
Yeah, at Tom Pedder Fitness on Instagram.
Fantastic. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next episode. Cheers, guys. Cheers, Tom.
Hopefully I'll be back on soon.
Yes, sir.